there, and a warm welcome along to you. As always, it's Chris Reardon with you. Today's United Kingdom Talk, an email catch-up programme today, after I tell you that I have once again spoken to dear Joy, who is still at the moment, I'm afraid, in hospital, but I spoke to her yesterday, and she's much, much better. She was being rude down the phone to me, which means she's... you wouldn't believe it. This lady is over 80 years old, and if her children ever realised what we talked about on the phone, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, very good news there. Joy is actually hoping to come out today from hospital, so I'll let you know on the next show. She's much better now, though, so thank you very much for your emails. I might read a couple of them out today, actually, during the course of the show. All right? Oh, yes, and I started a new job. I've started a new job on Tuesday. On Mondays. It's the same place. Now, the place is called Belushis. Strange name, yeah, I know. Belushis, spelt B. I've even had to write this down because I can never remember it. Belushis. Okay, if you want to look it up on the internet, Belushis. Belushis. Now, I'm at the Hammersmith branch. What I didn't realise is that it's a chain of pubs, and it's always quite a good idea to try as an entertainer to get into another chain, if you see what I mean. Anyway, my friend Rob, who runs the place, I worked for him a couple of years ago at another great place in the centre of London, which is no longer there, sadly, called the Long Island Tea Shop. Well, he took over this place a couple of weeks ago, and he has been up in Leeds. Do you remember last year? Was it last year or... No, it was last year, wasn't it? I did a couple of jobs up in Leeds. Well, he's left there now, and he's come back to London, and is now running Belushis in Hammersmith. And one of the first things he did was ring me up to come and work for him again. So, you know, when you get a good working relationship with people, it's... you kind of... I suppose... I mean, I've never been a manager, but I suppose as a manager, you collect together over the years a team, don't you? So as you move around, you kind of take your team with you. And he rung me up, and funnily enough, at the place I'm working at the moment on Saturdays, they've closed for a couple of weeks because of a licensing problem. Someone's forgotten to change a name or something like that. I'm not quite sure what. But anyway, while that had happened, of course, he's moved into Hammersmith. Have you got any free nights? I said, well, I've got a couple of free Saturdays at the moment. He says, great, can you come and do this Saturday? And so I did last Saturday at 10 to 2, which is a lot better than the 11 to 4 that I'm doing at the moment. And it is a venue where anyone can go there. It's a predominantly straight venue, which is quite nice. I like to try and work at one or two places that I feel I could invite anyone to. There are some places I work at that I wouldn't invite you to, okay? But there are other places I work at that anyone could come. And this, I'm pleased to say, is one of those places. Also, the hours are a lot better. I'll be doing 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. instead of 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. So that also means... I know it sounds stupid, but it also means I get my Sundays back, because a lot of the Sunday I spent in bed, sort of not getting up till 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, of course, this Saturday I did the venue. Sunday morning I was up again at 10:30, which is just brilliant. So I've got my Sundays back, or I had my Sunday back as well. Remember, I was only supposed to be filling in for someone, but he has actually asked me to take on the Saturday night now after Saturday. It was okay, a bit of a quiet start, but between 12 and 2 it was really good, and played a lot of 90s music as well for the boys and girls in there. Predominantly fairly young crowd, I would say, but people coming up to me and talking, which I like that. Also, the beauty of this place, Belushis in Hammersmith, is that, as I say, they are a chain of places, but they are a kind of cheap hotel at the top, cum bar at the bottom. And they have places all over London, and I know they've got a place in Spain and other places like that. And they are fairly cheap hotel. When I say a cheap hotel, it's more of a, what would you call, like a backpacker's place. All right? So in the bar downstairs, you get a collection of people from many, many different countries, which is fantastic. and they come and talk to you. I was speaking to some people on Saturday. There was a few from Brazil. There was someone from the Czech Republic. There was someone from Germany. And it's just great. It's just fantastic. And what an atmosphere to be able to work somewhere like that. So he asked me at the end of the night, would I be happy to take it on? And I've said yes now. So that's it. So that's where I am. I've moved on Saturdays now to Belushis Bar. And that is like a DJ night, okay, music only. And a little bit, I get to talk on the microphone as well. I tell you what, there won't be enough time for any music. Once I get going, don't you worry about that, my love. No, but predominantly it's all music on Saturday night. A lot of 90s stuff, as I say. And I'm also doing there Monday night. And I'm doing karaoke there on a Monday night between 9 p.m. and 12 midnight. So if anyone ever wants to come along, I think it's free entry on a Monday. Saturday, it's free entry until 11 o'clock, after which I believe it's £5 or £3, one of the two. Okay, so best to get there before 11 o'clock and save the money for a couple of drinks. All right, so that's where I am now. Saturdays nights, doing some DJing between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And on Monday nights between 9 p.m. and 12 midnight, doing karaoke at Belushis in Hammersmith, which actually isn't too far away from Joy, because she's only down the road in Acton. Acton and Hammersmith are fairly close together. I wonder, Joy, I don't suppose I could have you dancing around once you get out of that hospital, can I? Eh? Oh, well, actually, you'll be watching this after you've left the hospital, wouldn't you? Yeah, I mean, I can see you coming down there, Joy. Oh, yes, those young lads won't know what they hit 'em once Joy's down there. Girlfriends, hold on to your boyfriends. Joy is on the way. I've actually got my first karaoke night there this week. And Gwen, you know Gwen? Do you remember Gwen? She's another elderly lady that I know. And she does a lot of singing. She likes to go around to karaoke places. And I've known Joy for about 3 or 4 years now. We have had her on the show a couple of times, chatting away on the phone. And she's coming to my first karaoke night there. So it's all very exciting. All right, so that's the news there. Right, let's do our email catch-up show today. Oh, by the way, did anyone see that girl Eleanor? The girl in the UK win the swimming on the Paralympics. How fantastic was she? Eh? And she was so over the moon. She got out of the swimming pool. She was crying and saying how pleased she was. And we're very proud of you, Eleanor. Well done, my darling, for winning that swimming. Fantastic. The look on your face just said it all. It really did. And you don't even get paid for it, do you? Not like these prissy footballers running around getting £60,000 a game or whatever they get. And then they start crying when they lose. Oh, it's pathetic. I've got no time for football at all. Told you that before. Right, there's an email address to the show. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Right, here come the emails then. First from Suko. A little email here to make you think for a while. And, of course, this came in last week. She said, Chris and United Kingdom Talk listeners, it's 9/11 and I can't stop thinking about my friend Fred Kuo, who died on that fateful day 7 years ago. Last year, I wrote an email about the impact 9/11 had on those of us in the shadow of the disaster. I won't repeat my day, but I wanted to remember Fred and the 36 residents of my town of Rockville Centre who died in the towers on that day. I also want to make a comment about the ripple effect of that day. So many of the firemen and other responders are suffering lung problems and cancers that may be related to the rescuing efforts that day and the weeks that followed. So far, thank God, Jerry is fine. If you remember, Jerry, who's Suko's husband, did rescuing efforts that day and the weeks that followed. So far, Jerry is fine. If you remember, he did as a volunteer rescuer. Okay? But I know I jumped a line then, I know. But our nephew, Jerry's sister's son, who's Danny, a New York City fireman, is suffering with lung problems so bad that he can no longer work and has to retire at the very early age of 42. I always think such an early age to get something that stops you doing something that you've done throughout your youth. Going back to footballers, I know I say like that prissy lot running around the England football team were a bit of a joke really, but I'm not really into football. But for someone, perhaps anyone perhaps that's played football for years and years and suddenly has perhaps a leg injury that stops him then playing football, it must be the worst thing, that, when you can't do something anymore. Danny has a wife and 4 children to support, and although he will receive a pension for the rest of his life, will it be enough to raise these children, only aged 3 to 11, and put them through college? And will he ever live to see them go to college? All we can do is pray that things work out for him and his family. There are hundreds of families in the same boat. I want to make sure that all those who gave their lives and those who risked their lives, that I, for one, appreciate everything they did. If it weren't for you, it is possible many others would have perished that day, Danny. We must learn to appreciate everyone for their differences and their similarities alike. Everyone is equal and deserves to live freely. These people who don't feel that way are missing a lot because, as you see here, we are friends through you, Chris, our connector, from all over the world who enjoy each other's comments and friendship, although we've never met. We are the lucky ones because we accept everyone for whatever they have to offer. With love to you all, from Suko. And that's a lovely email. And once again, you say some nice things there about me, Suko. But yes, I like to feel that everyone who's involved in this problem, well, it is a problem, isn't it? This programme is a huge problem. The biggest problem is I won't go away, will I? But I like to think, Suko, that everyone who's involved in this problem done it again. Done it again. You see, if I wanted to do this show as a recording, I'd cut all that out, but I don't. I want to do it as live, so that's it. Shall we try again? Everyone who's involved in this programme, whether it's writing an email or sending something through the post or sending a little MP3, a little soundbite of something to say, or listening or watching, everyone's involved in this programme, and I like to think that everyone involved accepts everyone for who they are, what they are, and what they do, as long as no one else is hurt. I like to think that, Suko, and Suko thinks that as well. But those people who helped at the 9/11 thing during the terrible tragedy, and indeed the years afterwards, and of course the bombings in London, the bombings in Madrid, all people who do any sort of help for any sort of disaster, whether it's man-made like bombings or earthquakes or flood reliefs, like those people in New Orleans again. God almighty, how many more times are they going to go through that? And there's plenty of people out there rescuing for nothing. They don't get any money. They just want to go and help. They're the people that we all have to be so grateful to. People who perhaps fought in the wars. Now, every year here in the UK, we have various services around the Cenotaph in London, which is like a memorial to the people who died in the Great Wars. Now, there are people that say we should move on. We should move on now and stop having these services. But we are here. I am perhaps able to talk to you like this now because I'm free to do so. Why am I free to do so? Perhaps by those people that fought in the war. So how can you ever ever forget something like that. The whole Poppy Day thing, and I'm sure you have them whatever country you're in. I'm sure you have those people there that say we must forget and move on. No, we mustn't. We must never forget. We must never forget. Thank you, Suko. The email address once again, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. She did send another attachment to that, sorry. And Suko says, if you speak to Joy, please tell her Suko is thinking about her and praying for her to fully recover. Tell her I miss hearing her on the show. Well, we will get her back on the show, Suko, as soon as she reappears from that hospital, my darling, okay? And I did, in fact, read this down the phone to her, which unfortunately made her cry, along with an email from Wayne Anonymous, which I'll read out to you as well in a minute, all right? Suko says, I wanted to tell you about the time I was a slave to... You weren't a slave, were you, Suko? What sort of slave? We don't want any of that mucky stuff on this programme, my darling. None of that slaves and masters business. Oh, I beg your pardon. Sorry, I'm not reading ahead here. I wanted to tell you about the time I was a slave to my Maltese dog, Gilbert. What sort of name is that for a dog? Gilbert the dog? God almighty. You'd have thought of a better name for a dog like Gilbert. Gilbert! Gilbert! Come on, Gilbert! It just doesn't ring, does it? Not for a dog's name, Suko. When he was a puppy, he got some kind of stomach virus, and the vet suggested I cook him boiled chicken and rice for a few days, which I did. After that, he would never eat dog food again. So every night for the rest of his life, I would either make him the chicken or a small piece of steak. With my next Maltese, Dylan... Suko, who's given you these dog names, dear? First of all, Gilbert, and now Dylan. You are having a laugh here, aren't you? These are not doggy names, dear. Gilbert and Dylan, the dogs. Oh, well, with my next Maltese dog, Dylan, I decided I was no longer going to be a slave to my pets, even though I adored him. And for a few years, he only ate dog food. After a while... Yeah, here we go. After a while, I felt sorry for him eating the same thing every day, and I started giving him table scraps. I'm such a sucker. Now my cat, May May, will only eat cat food, both canned and dry. The only people food she likes is vanilla ice cream, which I give both my cats maybe once a week. Jasmine, the little delicate-looking one, eats the cat food, but is always looking to see what we're eating, so occasionally I'll give her a tiny piece of chicken or cheese. She can be a real pest. What's funny is that I feed them out of the same can, a half each, and they eye each other's dish, thinking the other one has got something better. Yeah, they always do that, don't they, animals? Oh, my word. As soon as one of them walks away from the dish, the other one goes to that dish and laps it up. Poor May May, who was only a cat for about 4 years, is still to this day waiting for Jasmine to leave. Oh, sorry, I got that wrong. Poor May May, who was an only cat for about 4 years, is still to this day waiting for the other cat, Jasmine, to leave. Well, you say that. You see, I mean, my mum, I wouldn't say so much she was a slave to her dog Max, because she used to cook for him all the time. She enjoyed doing it. She enjoyed doing it. And, you know, I think sometimes elderly people need something to do or someone to look after. There's many, many times I've heard of people who retire and then very quickly they're gone. And they kind of fall in front of the television. I think a little bit there could be said, perhaps, I don't think that that's what killed my dad, but after he retired, he kind of retired to the armchair, and I don't think it does much good. You've got to keep doing things. I've always said you need to keep moving all the time, going for walks and things like that, or keeping your brain ticking over. You know, if I was to retire tomorrow, I would carry on doing this show. And that constantly keeps your brain ticking over. Believe it or not, all day long, I think about things to include in the show. It's a 24-hour thing. Always things are ticking over in my brain. Oh, maybe I'd like to talk about that. But I have to write them down quickly, otherwise they're gone in an instant. Just like that. The stuff just leaves my... I don't seem to have a very good memory. I don't know why that is. So I have to write things down, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's a bit difficult if you're in the shower. And really, things can go that quick. I could be in the shower, right? And suddenly I'll have 2 or 3 ideas about things to talk about. And I keep saying them, right, got to write that down, got to write that down. And for a moment, my memory lapses and it's gone. Gone again. So I do have to write things down like that. Suko goes, so, I mean, Mum wasn't a slave to the dog. She did enjoy, I'm sure she enjoyed cooking for Max. And I know he appreciated it. Suko goes on to say, I also wanted to tell you that United Kingdom Talk regular Judy from New Jersey and I are in contact and that she still listens. I know you do, Judy. You're still there, my darling. We keep in touch by email. One day, I was reading and Jerry was watching the news. There had been a tornado in New Jersey, and I heard them say, Judy P. I don't know if she wants me to give out her last name. No, always good not to give out a last name. Just an initial will do. Judy P. from the town of New Jersey, where I know she lives. So I looked up and I saw her being interviewed about the damage to the area. Isn't that funny? What, you saw her, Judy? Judy, did you manage to get an advert in for United Kingdom Talk, my love? Couldn't you have said something like that? Oh, I've had to ring up my friend Chris Reardon, who hosts UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk in the UK, and he's sending immediately supplies of crisps and jam. And tea bags. Eh? Well, more like crisps, marmalade and tea. Well, you won't get the marmalade because Joy's still in hospital at the moment. We've got to get her to make a new batch. I'm determined to get another jar of marmalade out of Joy, I tell you. That is funny, that is, Suko. So you now see what Judy looks like while she's chatting away on the telly. Fantastic. I emailed her, and sure enough, it was her. If you're listening, Judy, hope all is well and you've recovered from the storm. And she says, call me. But that's now lots of love from Suko. And also he says, thanks to James for walking me through Skype. Suko now has Skype, so they'll be calling me. Oh, you did that show on Sunday, didn't you? I remember now. Suko also does a little bit of a theatre review type thing on the matinee show, or matineeshow.co.uk, with James Dean and Madam Aries. And she's got Skype now. She's now got Skype. Joy's wondering what Skype is like. It's like a free sort of telephone service, but you get better quality because you get to use a microphone and headphones at each end. So well done there, my darling. I do have Skype, yes. Do you want to know my username? Hang on a minute, I'll tell you. The only thing is, although I have it running, I rarely use it because it kind of hooks up. The computer's not always on, and while it's on, it hooks up the computer, so you can't do anything else with it other than talk on Skype. So I do actually rarely have the Skype on, but my username is... I can't remember what it is, so I'm having a quick look here. I think it's Chris Reardon, all one word. I'm sure it is. Hang on. Is it on general? Oh, I don't know what it is. Chats? Is it Chats Advanced? I don't know. I'm sure my username is Chris Reardon, Suko, if you want to add me on there. All right, my darling? There we are. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk, the email address. Oh, look, something. I've got a new gadget. Another new gadget. Yes, as well as the electric blanket. Now, the reason I bought this... Here we are. It's not very exciting, this one, I'm afraid. I love opening boxes. They arrive this actually arrived in a massive box. And it's not even big. But I love opening new boxes, don't you? Here it is. I have a new external hard drive. Not very exciting. Just a black box, quite heavy actually. This is an iOmega one, this one. My new external hard drive. And the reason I've bought that, here's the box. I've got the box here as well. That came in a massive, the box that this particular item came in was 4 times larger than the actual device. How mad is this? Now what is this for, you're wondering, isn't it? It's an external hard drive. Joy wants to know, what is an external hard drive? Well, Joy, it is basically another set of drawers to put everything in, because the drawers I've got are big enough, but if they break, I will lose everything. By getting another one, I copy everything, so I've got it in 2 places, and that's why I've just bought that one. The reason I bought that was because my other spare external hard drive, the power lead broke. Now, this one is a Lacey. Okay, the manufacturer's a Lacey on this one. But they have these stupid power sockets, these power plugs. And inside the power plugs are little pins. And god damn it, they are easy to break. And of course, I've looked around for another power pack. And another power pack from Lacey is going to cost me about £25. Well, a new hard drive is only 50. And it's just a bit silly, really. It's actually only the cord, but you see the cord is actually attached to the power pack itself. So in the end I just ordered another complete hard drive, and as you can see it's got this stupid power connector that's a round thing with little pins in the bottom, and all the others, they have a more basic one which you can kind of interchange with different things. So there we are, new gadget there. What else have I got over there? Oh, I have finished reading my book, William Shatner, up till now. Highly recommended reading. It's very funny. If you like William Shatner from Star Trek, Boston Legal, which I never watched, and what's the other thing? And T.J. Hooker. And of course he's been in endless films and things like that. There he is, William Shatner as Star Trek, and there he is as himself. And as I said on another show, he actually looks younger now than he did in Star Trek. So I don't know what he's had done to his face. He's got a very good website as well, williamshatner.com. If you like autobiographies, and that's the first time I've ever read an autobiography, it's actually quite good and very funny in places. So all read now, and I'm now starting to read The World Without Us. Well, I've already read a little bit of it. So busy on the old book fronts there. Okay, let's say hello to Amy. It's Amy. Hello, Amy. Long time since I heard from her. I actually got Amy confused with Amy the teacher. But this is Amy Joe from AmericanTalkUSA.com's wife, who says, "Hi, Chris. Happiness is not..." She says, "I have some thoughts on all the people who keep commenting on your weight gain." Well, actually, got to be honest, they haven't done it this week. Probably because I've started working back again in a straight place in Hammersmith. No problem there at all. No one even bats an eyelid. But actually, no one else has mentioned it this week either, because I'm kind of brushing them off now. I say, "Anne, what's your point? Is it just that you want to try and upset me because it doesn't bother me anymore?" And at that point, I usually go over to the bar and buy another bag of crisps. And that's it, dear. Another bag of Walker's cheese and onion crisps. My friend Matt, who I was working on on Saturdays for a while, he is another lover of Walker's cheese and onion crisps. Yes, we love them. Anyway, Amy says, next time someone says, "Oh, Chris, you look like you've put on weight," look at them and say, "I know. I look and feel fabulous. I've never felt so healthy in my life." And you know what? There is a truth in that. I mean, Joe from AmericanTalkUSA.com, yes, your husband. I know who he is. AmericanTalkUSA.com. That's kind of a, I would say, a sister podcast to this one. We're kind of building up a little network here of podcasts, aren't we? Which I've mentioned before. Now, you can download any of these anytime. They are not, they are radio shows in, I suppose, but they are podcasts all in all as well, and you can download and listen to them anytime. You know where this one is. Okay, you can find this particular podcast 3 times a week at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, all right? unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And you can watch or listen either. There's Joe. Now, Joe is in the States, and his podcast is more, I would say, more in... this show, I would say, is... come round the house for a cup of tea and a chat and be my friend. That's this podcast. Joe's podcast is a friendly podcast as well, but his is a more, I would say, informative podcast. He goes out and finds out about things and tells you about them. Okay? And you can find that one at americantalkusa.com. All right? americantalkusa.com. That's in audio only. There's Ross P. Okay? Ross P. Now, Ross P., he has just started doing a podcast. Oh, can you believe it? I haven't got the thing here. Hang on, let me see if it's here. I bet it's not. Ooh, no, it's not there. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, here's Ross. If you want to listen to Ross's one. Now, Ross's one is, I would say, similar to this. Okay? A little bit similar to this. And I think he plays the occasional bit of music in there as well. Ross spends a lot of time talking about what he's been up to and his girlfriend Donna. And you can find that one at Ross Patzelt Radio Show, ROSSPATZELTRADIO. Okay, Ross Patzelt Radio Show .mypodcast.com. All right. And the other one is James Dean and Madam Aries in The Matinee Show. Now, that one, he plays all show tunes and has a chat with his friend Madam Aries about all theatrical type things. And again, that one you can find at matineeshow.co.uk. And there you can also hear Suko doing her weekly roundup of what's going on in the theatre in New York. Okay, so once again, that one is matineeshow.co.uk. Quite nice. We're building up a little family. One day we will all meet. We will all make the effort to meet one day. Now, where? That would be the question. Where? We'd have to find something fairly neutral. It's difficult to know where to meet, isn't it, really? Where would we meet? I don't know. Don't know. It's got to be... Do you know, actually, I think probably New York would be the place. When I think about it, that's kind of central to... I don't know, really. I don't know. Maybe you've got some ideas, have you? If we were all to meet, where should we go? That's me and you and the people from the Matinee Show and AmericanTalkUSA.com. and Ross Patzelt. Where should we all go and meet? That's the difficult one. Could that ever be achieved? Where do you think it should be? What area? Let us know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Amy says, happiness is not found by the size of one's waist. Hopefully, we will all get the privilege of growing older, and that means wrinkles and some added weight. True beauty really does come from the inside. Look at the happiness you've brought to all people around the world listening to your show. And that's a lovely thing to say. You make such a wonderful difference in people's lives. You make us think, laugh, and sometimes cry. To me, that is real, true beauty. Have a beautiful day from Amy. Thank you, Amy. Very kind words there. And I do like to make people smile. Perhaps cry as well, I don't know. But it's all sharing each other's stories, isn't it? Wayne wrote a lovely little email here, which I read to Joy down the phone. I hope this is okay to read out here. All right. And I read this down the phone to Joy. Hello, Joy. Greetings from Anonymous Wayne in the States. I wanted to thank you for your telephone chats with United Kingdom Talk and Chris, and tell you that all of his loyal listeners are patiently waiting your next contribution to the programme. Hearing your voice brings a great deal of joy into our lives. Chris has no doubt gained a lot of insight into life from having your wisdom added to his life skills. Rest, relax, and start making plans for your next command performance on United Kingdom Talk. Best wishes from the members of your extended family. And Wayne. Thank you, Wayne. As I say, I read that to her down the phone. She was very pleased, very pleased. Let's say hi to Dougie in Akeley. Hello, Doug. Who says, hi, Chris. Keeping that teacup, that cute guy from the RAC. Do you remember? The week before last, was it? 2 or 3 weeks ago now? Oh. 2 or 3 weeks ago now, I broke down and I had to have an RAC man come. He's the... RAC is one of the breakdown rescue services we have here in the UK, and I'm a member of the RAC, and I had to call out the RAC, and we had a very cute man, very cute, gorgeous man, came and rescued me. Unfortunately, he didn't rescue me as far as to throw me over his shoulder and carry me down a ladder or anything like that. Unfortunately, there was no physical contact at all, which was very disappointing. Doug says, but I gave him a cup of tea when he got home, and I've kept that. It hasn't been washed. It's been kept and placed on my mantelpiece. Doug says, hi, Chris. Keeping that teacup that cute guy from the RAC drank from is just wrong. He says, what about germs? Well, the more the better. That's what I say. If they're coming from him, the more germs, the better. You could get a cold or flu or something. But then again, it might have been worth it. Well, you say that about colds and flu, but as Joe from AmericanTalkUSA.com pointed out the other week, he's noticed I haven't had flu or cold or anything wrong with me since putting on that weight. I actually weighed myself this morning, 12 stone 13. We are at 12 stone 13 now for quite a long time. Even if I eat a bit less or a bit more, it seems to go back to 12 stone 13. So you know what, Joe? I reckon that is my correct weight. 12 stone 13. It's just holding there. And you know I'm an active person. Just been swimming this morning, actually. Swimming 5 times a week. Long walking 2 or 3 times a week. Cycling 5 times a week. So I'm very active. I reckon 12 stone 13 is probably my correct weight. And besides, I went to the doctor a couple of weeks ago. Do you remember about my ears? I've still got this ear spray. No more itchy ears since getting this ear spray, which is just marvellous. And I think the doctor would have said something, wouldn't he? If he noticed someone's overweight. Would they tell you or not? Oh, I don't know. It really piercing eyes, that doctor, if I remember rightly. If you walked in there and he thought you were overweight, would a doctor tell you? Don't know. Anyway, Doug says, but then again, if you get the cold or flu or something, it might be worth it. It certainly will. It certainly will. And you told me I was reading too much into you sharing towels. At the gym you swim at. When I told that was your wish. I hope you're not suggesting I go in a towel basket and start fishing out towels, are you? As used by good-looking people. What are you like? Honestly, Dougie? Something wrong with you? I hope Joy is getting along okay. Yeah, he also says, and you were talking about sending computers for repair. My computer would have to go minus the hard drive. You're not looking at pictures on there, are you? God almighty, of naked people, honestly. Where will it all end? Thank you, Doug. Got another one here from Wayne, who says, hello, Chris, I've brought a new listener from Florida into the United Kingdom Talk family. Now, we're not allowed to mention her name yet because she hasn't given her permission. So I know you're there, my love, and I do know you're there, but we will not talk about it until you say that's so okay for you to say hello to me, because I think you might be a bit nervous about having your name mentioned. So welcome, new lady in Florida. I'm just kind of wondering what part of Florida you're in. I know the sort of area that's around Disney, Winter Garden. Orange Blossom, that long road. What's that? Orange Blossom Road or Orange Blossom Trail, isn't it? I know that road there. A lot of dodgy things at one end there, which I just want to point out I do not go to. Thank you very much. But there is a pub for the boys along there. Now, what's it called? Parliament House. That's it, Parliament House. And they have it's like a hotel and a nightclub and a bar, and they have shows on in there as well, drag shows, which are quite good. Where else do I know in Florida? I know the whole international drive and all that business. But the last time I went to Florida was it 90? Oh, I don't know now. I think it was 97, 98, something like that. Yeah, it would be, because that was just before Mum died. Or it might have been 2000. 1999, I think, was the last time. My God, that's nearly 10 years ago. I didn't realise that was so long ago. But the last time I went, I got a car as usual, and I actually went out of the tourist area and just had a bit of a drive around. And I love the houses you have in certain areas around there. And I went to the library to use the internet and found the local shops. I love your supermarket, Publix, Publix. Is that all across the states, or it's just Florida? They have that supermarket, Publix. My God, you can get anything in there. You just buy anything in this supermarket. Marvellous place. Wayne says, an observation about Ross P. While listening to his programme, it was quite obvious to me that he is jealous of your ability to admire the male physique in motion. Perhaps you could give Ross some pointers on how to observe without being too obvious. Oh, yes. Yeah, that is a point, actually, boys. When you're looking at the other men, you've got to do it so that they don't notice. You can get in terrible trouble. All right, you've got to quite pretend you're reading a paper like this, you know. So you've got a newspaper in front of you, and now and again look up to have a good look at what's going on. Just look down at your paper, and then now and again quickly look up. And if you see them look over, then you look down again. Or you could have a little hole in the what you could do, you could have the newspaper in front of you, and you could have a little hole, couldn't you, really, in the newspaper. They'd never know you were looking. They would never ever know, would they? You could suggest that Ross's girlfriend buy him a sparkly jacket with a large question mark embroidered on it. Oh no, I don't think there's any question about Ross being a straight boy. Absolutely, there's no gay tendencies there at all, I'm afraid. Not that I was ever interested. I'm not my cup of tea, I'm afraid, Ross, which you'll probably be pleased to hear, actually. I believe you are correct in telling Ross not to buy a house now. ERC, Ross, don't buy a house yet. I don't know how many other people have got to tell you, my darling. Do not buy a house yet. And if you've made an offer, pull out. You won't lose anything. Do not buy. I don't know how many times we've got to tell you. If you listen to Ross P's podcast, you will hear him say that him and his girlfriend, Donna, they have been looking around for a house. Do not buy a house yet. Other people are telling you, look, not just me, my darling, okay? You will save £10,000 to £15,000 if you wait about a year and a half. People are not thinking clearly, and they should not sign contracts. Yeah, see? You're not thinking clearly. I know what it is. You're in love with Donna. You want to set up home together. Maybe have babies and all that business. Now is not the time to do it. I can save you thousands, darling. Thousands. Don't do it yet, please. Please. Please continue to offer guidance to that poor man, Wayne says. The next thing you know, Ross will be nominating Madam Aries for Best Looking TV Weather Presenter. Oh my God, I hope not, dear. Oh God, because they did have a charity thing to try and raise money for a new set of teeth for her, didn't they? Because she needs Nana needs new teeth. Nana is Madam Aries. Yeah. Don't buy a house yet, Ross. Okay, look who it is. It's our Gloria. Hello, Gloria, darling. Who says, hi, Chris. I was listening to your show about ears and cotton buds. And you said not to look it up on the internet. So I have not. This is what I said. What we were saying was about earwax. What is earwax for? Do you remember? And we've kind of done that now, but no one. You're all a bit late with the email. Well, maybe not. You're not late. Maybe I didn't give you long enough. Actually, in future, if I suggest something like that, I'll give everyone a week to email in. I didn't give you long enough, did I? Really? And I was saying, what do you think earwax is for? And Gloria thinks earwax is what keeps dirt, etc., from getting into your inner ear. And you are right, my darling. I'm not sure that if it's right, but I think it is something like that. I've just recently read about why you should never clean your ears with cotton buds. When you stick that in your ears, you can push the wax up against your eardrum and damage the eardrum. Even if you don't damage your eardrum, you can pack the wax against your eardrum and make it almost impossible to get out on your own. Sometimes it requires medical intervention, and that's from your Florida friend Gloria. And you're quite right, that is exactly what earwax is for. It's like a human version of flypaper. Wax stops the dust and hopefully some of the insects getting in there as well. They just get stuck. Oh, isn't it horrible? Funnily enough, we mentioning that is my friend, again, Matt, who I was working for on Saturdays. He's recently had his ears syringed. Oh, it was a nightmare. You'd be talking to him on the... Sorry, I'm getting the papers in order there. You'd be talking to him on the telephone, and you'd have to say everything about 3 or 4 times because he couldn't hear a thing. So I went to the doctor in the end, and they syringed his ears, and he was a little bit concerned that it would hurt. And I don't think ear syringing does hurt your ears, although he said one of them hurt, one of them didn't. So maybe he had a bit of infection in that. But before I've never had this done. Before you go and have your ear syringed, I gather for a period before the event, you have to go. You get eardrops, and that's supposed to loosen the wax. And then you go in the doctor's, and he puts this thing in and squirts this stuff in your ear, and you have a bowl. You have a bowl on your shoulder. Oh dear, and all this muck comes out of your ear. And Matt was saying, I said, how's your ears? He said, everything is so loud now. So it works really well, that ear syringing thing. And I don't think it hurts at all. Has anyone else had their ears syringed rather? What's it like? Do let me know, okay? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is the email address. Gloria, I hope you're sending in your postcards to Gloria. Do you remember on the last show? Her grandson, Trevor, who's in the 2nd grade, is doing this thing at school, a project. And they want to collect postcards from all over the world, okay? And on the postcard, you've got to put something, a little bit about where you live. Perhaps anything that's particular to your area or anything like that. Now, if you want to do that, I'm going to give out the address just once more on this show again, just in case you missed the last show, okay? So go and get yourself a pen. Well, I'll tell you what this is about again. It's Gloria's grandson, Trevor, who's in his 2nd grade. They want to collect postcards from all over the world with little bits of information about the area from which the person who sent the postcard comes. Now, I'm going to send one of these in myself, but if you want to send these, send them to Trevor. Okay, Trevor. Here's the address. Miss Kersigo's class, that's Kersigos, Miss Kersigo's class, Neihart Elementary School, that's Neihardt, once again, Neihardt, Neihart Elementary School, 15130 Drexel Street, Drexel Street, Omaha, Omaha, NE 68137. United States of America, or USA at the bottom, all right, if you're outside the US. Once again, send your postcards to Trevor, Miss Kersagos class, KERSIGOS class, Neihart, I can't say that word, Neihart Elementary School, that's NEIHARDT, all right, NEIHARDT, Neihart Elementary School, 15130 Drexel Street, DREXEL, Omaha, OMAHA, NE 68137, USA. And don't forget to put Trevor on the top. And maybe you want to put on somewhere, heard you ask for this on United Kingdom Talk. Something like that. All right? There you go. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing all right. Robert in Iceland, correctly got that right as well. Chris, earwax is like flypaper. I, on the other hand, think that earwax is perfect for oiling the fishing line when fly fishing. Oh, that's horrible, that is, Bob. Oh, that is... So you get your fishing line and you stick your finger in your ear and put it on the line? Poor fish. They might not want to eat your earwax. How vile is that? Or you don't know, I've come out with... you were talking about eating sheep's heads a few months ago, weren't you? I don't know what's wrong with you. I really don't, Robert. Dear me. Incidentally, I'm doing. Did I tell you I'm doing sit-ups now? Yep, I'm up to 200 a day. I do 200 usually early afternoon. No, sorry, 100 early afternoon, and I do 200 just before. Oh, and I do sorry, that's wrong, isn't it? I do 100 early afternoon, and I do the other 100 just before I go to bed. So sit-ups 200 a day, and we're just coming up to week 3. So I think we might be seeing a bit of a difference. Might be seeing a bit of a difference. Mind you, with the amount of cheese and onion pasties I seem to be eating at the moment. I do like a cheese and onion pasty. Oh, yes. I actually eat very, very little meat. Oh, talking about meat eating, Susan, our cat lover, may like to know that I gave Tiny, the older cat, she had some beef. Yesterday I bought her some raw beef, which she enjoyed very much. All right, so all the food's going on well there. Katie, on the other hand, if I give her a bit of raw meat, she'll sniff it and walk away, and then come back about 20 minutes later and eat it. I don't know why that is. Any idea? I don't know why that is, Susan. Right. Let me just... I'm confused with my papers here. Hello to Stephen. It's our mate Stephen, who kindly wrote to me suggesting that I apply to a new online radio station to possibly take my radio shows, which I have indeed done. And Stephen writes, "Hi Chris, hope you're well. So glad you applied to that radio station. Hope you're successful." Yeah, me too, me too. Watched you on YouTube on Thursday for the first time, as I always listen to the podcast. I was impressed at how professional it is. I don't know if it's professional. I kind of throw it together. I try and make it look as good as I can. The lighting, it's not too bad now. I'm kind of looking at myself. I've got a little screen over here that I don't look at. But the lighting's a lot better than it was now because I had some help from a very good friend of mine, Ben, who is also a karaoke host, older guy, and he suggests I use these daylight bulbs, which I'm using now. I'm emailing you to congratulate you on your advice to Matt, or Matty, in Australia regarding credit cards. I gave my daughter the same advice, but unfortunately she hasn't listened. I know, this is the thing. I was the same. Sometimes giving young people advice, you think it falls on deaf ears. I think sometimes, but you can only give the advice. And I think young people, including myself, in the past, have to learn from our mistakes. I'm convinced that even though you give so much advice, young people a lot of the time have to learn from their own mistakes. And you can only give the advice and hope that at some point it kind of sticks in the head. If Matt listens to you, he will never regret it. 9 times out of 10, I pay my credit card off. If I don't pay it off, I don't use it until it's cleared. Genuine emergencies aside. I have to agree also to only have one credit card with a competitive APR. However, I have to be honest, when I was in Australia in 2005, I had trouble checking into a hotel because the computer was updating back to the UK. My card was clear, but I had to wait several hours after stressful phone calls to the UK before I could check in. Because of this, when I go to Oz now in a few weeks, I've taken out a second credit card as a backup to avoid this embarrassing and stressful situation again. Exactly the same thing happened to me there, Stephen, when I went to America. On 2 occasions. After a while, after using it a few times, they would no longer allow me to use my credit card until everything had, all the transactions had gone to the UK, been cleared and start again. So that I also found was a problem. So now I just take cash and traveller's checks. Yeah, I completely understand that situation, and that does happen. I think probably more of... Has anyone else been in that situation where they've been in another country and had trouble using their home credit card? Do please let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. When I return and pay them off, the card with the worst APR will be destroyed. So very good indeed. Do you know, I've run out of time. I can't finish that email. We'll start there on the next show. There's also a couple of emails here which have been from Matty and indeed Ross and a few others here on the next show. Thanks as always for watching and listening to the show. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is my email address. See you soon. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.